Welcome to Marketplace Tech Bytes, our weekly review of some of the biggest stories making headlines in the industry this week. I'm Meghan McCarty, Carino. This week, the Federal Trade Commission has barred the messaging app NGL from hosting minors. Trump's official 2024 platform is prioritizing crypto and AI, and Meta's Threads app platform turns one. For more on all those stories, I'm joined by our regular contributor, Natasha Mascarenhas. She's a reporter at The Information. She's here to give us her take on the week's news. Welcome, Natasha.
Welcome. It's great to see you.
I know. It's so great to see you. So as always, we're going to kick things off with our bite of the week. This is a number that says a little something about the week that was in tech. So Natasha, what is your number?
My number is 2021. It is the year that a startup was launched that is making all the headlines this week with a new FTC ruling. And so figured we would just shout out just a several years old company to start off the episode this week.
All right. So I have a related number.
Oh, okay.
I'm in sync with you. My number is 200 million, which is the number of users I think the same app we're talking about has. And at one point in 2022, it was the most downloaded product on the Apple App Store, which makes it all the more embarrassing that I was not super familiar with the app until this week. Natasha, tell us which app we're talking about.
I know. Clearly we're dancing around it, but let's get right into it. So NGL is an anonymous messaging app that really made waves launching in 2021, but like you said, in 2022, very much skyrocketed to the top of the Apple App Store. And it allowed people to send messages that were anonymous. And kind of was reminiscent of sort of the websites that me and you probably grew up with, like that were a lot less low tech. This was an app, probably better built, seamless. And then it came into the news this week because the FTC stepped in and stopped the app from hosting minors, which was, a sizable portion of its 200 million users.
And so NGL kind of stands commonly for not gonna lie, but the FTC has charged the company did lie about how well it's protecting young people on the app from harm. Tell me more about kind of what the FTC has charged here.
Yeah, so they're basically coming up against NGL by saying that the company has exaggerated its ability to use AI to stop cyberbullying in the settlement. And so think of it like this. People were getting messages that were downloading the app for anonymous, maybe let's say an anonymous compliment in order to download the app, in order to see who was going to, who actually sent that message, you would have to download the app. And so there was almost like this bait and switch tactic. That was half of it. The other half of it was sort of the ability to use AI to actually stop cyberbullying from happening. And so given a lot of the bullying that's happened on the internet, given a lot of what the FTC has been doing to protect minors and users under 18 from social media, I think it caught the attention from the body.
And FTC Chair Lina Khan said in a statement, "We will keep cracking down on businesses that unlawfully exploit kids for profit." I mean, does this seem like sort of a broad avenue that regulators might use to protect kids online, in the absence of really much federal legislation here?
Certainly. I mean, that's why I thought of 2021 for the bite of the week, because usually we don't see so many people up in arms over, a several-year-old startup that had to settle for $5 million. That would usually go under the radar. But there's a past here that is kind of impacting the present. I mean, the FTC last year struck a deal with Epic Games for several $100 million over allegations that the company, violated data privacy laws for children. FTC has also done a lot of work trying to bar Facebook and Instagram from monetizing data of children and teens under 18. And we, last time I was on the show, we saw Meta still say that the future of the app is the young people that will be using it. So there is this tension between big tech, between the market of under 18 users, and clearly the FTC has been kind of taking steps towards this for years, but this is the first time we've seen them outright ban a digital platform for serving users under 18. It's a major milestone.
All right, now I want to change gears here and do something a little unusual. Let's talk about some policy issues in the presidential election.
Yeah.
This week, the GOP formally adopted Donald Trump's platform. It touches on some big tech issues, namely crypto and AI. Let's start with crypto. What is the position there?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, crypto, this is crypto's make or break moment, as my colleague in The Information wrote this morning. The crypto industry is definitely getting noticed by both candidates. So just to catch everyone up, in May, the Trump campaign announced that it would accept donations in crypto, which included Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and that was almost like a step away from what Trump said last time he was in office, which was pretty negative towards crypto and calling toward the flimsiness of the coins. Since leaving office, though, we have seen him obviously announce that they'd accepted, but also he invested in crypto, has issued his own non-fungible token or NFT. And now we see ahead of the Republican convention next week that Trump is defending the right to mine Bitcoin as one of his key platform coins. And so we're kind of seeing both candidates adopt a more public kind of conversation on crypto. Trump is coming out right and supporting it. Biden has obviously been very hard about it during his administration. And so it'll be interesting to see where Biden goes. And the conversations at least suggest that he's thinking about it.
I mean, what is really the constituency? Is there a big crypto voting block that is being appealed to here?
Yeah, I mean, it is unclear how many, crypto traders are going to translate into voters. I don't know if we have that stat off the top of our head, but I will say around 18 million Americans currently hold or trade crypto. This comes while people aren't necessarily all believing crypto is a safe asset, but we do have a lot of people involved in it. So this might help people who are excited about crypto, who own crypto, who may be either in the middle or not sure which candidate to vote for, tip them into a very decisive moment. I mean, I think it's hard to understate how much crypto leaders and investors have that rallying powder. And so, they could totally run behind Trump and try and make sure that that's, good news for their companies and for their holdings.
All right. The platform also calls for rolling back the Biden administration's executive order on AI. What would rolling it back mean?
Yeah. So, in October 2023, Biden issued this executive order, which was really to make sure the development of AI would be safe, would be secure, and would be trustworthy. And so it would be requiring developers of AI to share safety test result systems and then develop standards and tools to help ensure the AI systems are all those things, safe and secure. And also just kind of these broad protections and goals around protections, which maybe you can tell from my tone. I think the ambition was great. I don't see individual founders of these top AI companies coming to me every week and telling me that they are struggling to fulfill that. I think in a world where AI founders do want consumer trust, I think that we've seen people fall in line and not, at least publicly or to me, say anything. So to answer your question directly, Trump rolling it back, we don't know what that says right now. We do know it fits in with what he has been sort of talking about idea-wise. That just gives us an action at the end of it. I mean, at the All In podcast, I think a few weeks ago, he spoke about his AI policy and very much wants to be a leader in AI, which could include, pivoting from fossil fuels to, pivoting from renewable energy sources to fossil fuels. And so again, I think we're just seeing Trump start to pick into more specific platforms, ones that his rival has definitely kind of had either negative or at least more protective mindset toward.
All right, we want to take a moment now to commemorate one of our newest social media platforms, Meta's Threads app, which turned 1 year old last week. How has it been doing in that year?
Yeah, so, when they turned 1, and I love a birthday, so I'm really happy we're talking about this. It has more than 175 million users, still a fraction of Instagram and Facebook's user base, but, several things to talk about here. First of all, you know, in order to sustain that it had, I think it got around 100 million users in the first
Right.
5 days of launch. That's common where we see this big bump in consumer apps, and then actually maintaining that bump and growing it is the biggest challenge, and it's where we see companies even have to shut down. So while I'm sure, you know, Threads didn't want majority of its growth to happen in its first 5 days. I will say the fact that it's been able to sustain that growth and adds almost, double, little less than double users in the following months is interesting. Of course, the real question that I have that I'm sure you would appreciate is that it doesn't matter how many users it has, it matters how many daily active users it has. Are these ghosts? I mean, I technically have downloaded it, but I don't use it. And so I would definitely want to know a little bit more about the action that's happening.
Right. And they've been a little bit cagey about those numbers. This was kind of touted as a kinder, gentler alternative to X, kind of deprioritizes political conversations, that kind of stuff. Is it clear, like, what creators are using it for at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely speak for journalists. So I know that there's journalists who've been kicked off of Twitter. Sorry, X. I know that there's been journalists who've been kicked off of X, or at least do not feel like they are able to be protected on X, that now solely use that platform. I've definitely seen some of that. I feel like I've definitely seen executives and companies take that approach. But like I said, I don't think it's something that I'm seeing people in my immediate circle of friends, of family, even if sources really use the app. And so I think it's more like one of the many apps that people are using, similar to how LinkedIn is one of the many apps. I wouldn't say LinkedIn is a replacement for X, and I wouldn't say Threads yet is a replacement for X.
All right. Well, we never got the promised cage match between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, so I guess maybe we'll have to wait for the 2-year anniversary for that.
Fingers crossed. Maybe it'll happen
We can hope.
in Lake Tahoe.
All right. Well, thanks, Natasha. That's Natasha Mascarenhas, reporter for The Information. So good to have you.
So good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks to all of you for joining us for Marketplace Tech Bytes Week in Review. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already to watch us every Friday. Rosie Hughes produced this week's episode, and I'm Meghan McCarty Carino. This is APM.